The story opens with a haunting, desolate scene. 3 men hurriedly bury a body in a field. The figure is unseen, though it's clear that the men believe they are erasing all traces of the person they've disposed of. As they burn the body and finish the grim task, a fire still flickers, a foreboding sign of unfinished business. This mysterious, disembodied beginning sets the stage for a story about vengeance, death, and an eerie return. The plot quickly shifts to the present day, introducing Bull, a figure who appears to be consumed by vengeance. Bull gets in a van, which he had earlier hired. He requests a gun which they had previously discussed on. They drive up to a shop. Bull gets out and walks towards it. Bull brazenly unalives a person inside with zero hesitation, almost as if it were an afterthought. This brutal and straightforward act marks the start of Bull's relentless campaign. The next victims in Bull's bloody path are Cheryl and her husband Ollie. Cheryl is the sister of Bull's ex-wife, and her involvement with the conspiracy against Bull makes her a target. Bull shows no mercy as he breaks into their home and unalives both Cheryl and Ollie, without any remorse or hesitation. Bull also ensures Ollie is taken out first, so as to hurt Cheryl even more. It's clear that Bull is acting on pure fury. There is no room for sympathy in his cold, methodical revenge. As the film progresses, flashbacks to the past are interwoven with the present-day events. These flashbacks reveal a deeper story. 10 years ago, Bull worked as an enforcer for his father-in-law, Norm, a violent and power-hungry crime boss. Bull's unparalleled ruthlessness made him an invaluable asset to Norm's criminal empire, but it also made him a liability. His unpredictable violence, while effective, put those around him on edge. Meanwhile, Bull's personal life was falling apart. His wife, Gemma, had been cheating on him with Gary, one of Bull's colleagues, and was also abusing heroin. Bull learns of her infidelity and her addiction, which stirs up his emotions and makes him increasingly unstable. In the present day, it is implied that Gary has moved on from Gemma to a different sister. Gemma, now wanting to marry Gary, sends Norm, who will do anything for his daughter, to negotiate with Bull the separation, which would also involve giving up custody of their son, Aiden. Bull claims he has no bad blood towards Gary, and is willing to give up the house and claims not just Gary, but the entire gang can have Gemma if they so need, but refuses to let go of Aiden. Norm and the rest of the gang, including Gary, Marco, and Clive, plot to eliminate Bull altogether. First, they take him and Aiden to a carnival. They let the two play games and have fun. Eventually, Norm requests a private chat with Bull up on a ride. This leaves Aiden with Norm's goons, where they use the chance to kidnap Aiden and hand him to Gemma. Bull sees all this unfold but is unable to do anything about it from all the way up in the ride. When Bull gets OU of the ride, they kidnap him, bundle him into the back of a car, and take him to a desolate, abandoned caravan. Here, they have a brief chat before Gemma, high and drunk, shows up. Here, Bull reveals that if he ever gets out of there, he will unalive each and everyone in the caravan. It is revealed that all of this being undertaken under Gemma's will. They give him alcohol to numb the pain, and Norm asks Gemma one last time if she actually wants to go ahead with it. Gemma, vengeful, entitled and high as a kite, signals yes. There, they burn him alive. It is then revealed that Aiden was also in the car that Gemma came in, further signaling at her irresponsibility. Bull, hearing Aiden, rushes out of the caravan, while still in flames. Clive yells that Bull is baking, and yells at Norm to end it, who then shoots him in front of Aiden. Bull's death is swift, brutal, and seemingly definitive. But the mystery remains: how has Bull returned to exact vengeance? After Bull's return, the hunt for him begins. Norm, still controlling the criminal operations, tortures Bull's elderly mother, Marge, in an effort to learn Bull's whereabouts. As Norm and his men press Marge for information, it's revealed that Bull has been watching the entire ordeal from the shadows. When he finally steps in, he asks his mother if she wants help before smothering her to end her suffering. This act of mercy, though grim, also hints at Bull's detached nature. Bull's next target is Clive, a gang member who has always feared Bull. Clive is walking his children home when Bull kidnaps them and takes them to a funfair. There, Bull threatens Clive, forcing him to lure Gary into the fairground. When Gary arrives, Bull releases Clive and his children, knowing the real threat is Gary. In a chilling sequence, Bull captures Gary, taking him hostage and interrogating him while they ride the waltzers at the fair. Bull tortures Gary, slashing his thigh and letting him bleed out as the waltzers spin. This surreal moment underscores Bull's unrelenting nature. There is no escape for those who wronged him. Bull then tracks down a heroin dealer in a seedy part of town. He cuts off the dealer's hand, steals his money, and forces him to reveal Gemma's location. With the dealer unconscious in the back of the car, Bull drives to Gemma's new home. Breaking in, Bull forces Gemma to lure Norm to the house. Bull clearly instructs Gemma to tell her father that Bull is not inside the house, but rather, sleeping in the car outside. When Norm arrives, he orders the execution of the guy in the back of the car, who was the drug dealer. Norm then enters the house with his gun out. However, Bull ambushes him, and tortures Gemma for information about his son. Eventually, Gemma reveals that Aiden, deeply scarred by the traumatic experience of seeing his father burned alive and shot, has turned to heroin as a way to cope. Bull, now furious that the Gemma has ruined the one thing she wanted, the one thing over which Bull had to be eliminated, their son, Bull first unalives Norm, so that Gemma witnesses this and experiences the pain of losing someone right in front of their eyes, and then unalives Gemma without hesitation and sets off to find his son. Bull's reunion with Aiden is haunting. He finds Aiden, now a heroin addict, curled up asleep beneath a bridge. The father carries his son to a nearby church, seeking refuge for the night. The next morning, a vicar discovers Aiden sleeping under the altar. As she approaches, she is struck with sheer terror upon seeing Bull. She demands to know how he dares enter a house of God. When Bull turns to face her, his eyes are revealed to be completely black. It is then revealed through flashbacks, that his eyes have been this way throughout this entire thing. The vicar is horrified, but Bull asks not for his own, but for his son's salvation, leaving her with the money he stole from the heroin dealer. The film's final moments see Bull returning to the field where he was buried at the start of the film. It's here that the truth is revealed: Bull did pass away that night. His return wasn't the result of a miraculous escape, it was the result of a dark pact, likely with the devil, enabling him to return and exact his revenge. The film leaves the viewer with a chilling sense of inevitability, as Bull's vengeance was always predestined. Throughout the story, references to hell are cleverly woven into the narrative, creating a sense of foreshadowing that builds gradually. From the way Bull's eyes change to his unrelenting pursuit of vengeance, the film hints at a supernatural influence at play. The viewer is led to believe that Bull might somehow escape death and find a way to survive, but instead, the reveal that he died and was brought back through a deal with the devil feels cheap to some. The idea of Bull's return as part of an infernal pact removes some of the tension that was built up during the film's early acts. What was once a grounded revenge thriller morphs into a supernatural tale, and for some viewers, This shift in tone can undermine the intensity and rawness that made the first two-thirds of the film so compelling. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe so we can bring you more movie recaps, and save you time by giving you these stories in under 10 to 15 minutes.